Hey guys, welcome back to our episode of the Jay Sit Down podcast. I'm your host Jade, and today we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. And is it time to panic for the Chiefs? This team, they're 6-7 right now at this point in the season. Just lost to the Texans on Sunday Night Football, which was a good defensive game. The Texans, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL this year, were able to pick off Patrick Mahomes a couple of times. And they just were able to hold him to 160 passing yards, no touchdowns, interceptions. Like I said, just not a good day for the offense. And the defense was able to capitalize off of those short field opportunities. I mean, the Texans were able to capitalize off of those short field opportunities created by their defense, and stopping the Chiefs' offense. And it's really, if you're a Chiefs fan, I probably would be a little concerned. Now, we've seen this team come and, make runs and get to the Super Bowl anyway when they've had troubles. But you think about last year, right? They were in all these close games. Here's the thing, though. They were 11-1 in close games last year. This year, they are 1-6 in one-score games. So, that was something that they were able to get off, wins last year. This year, they're not able to do that. A lot of that has to do with coaching. A lot of that has to do with just a lack of talent on certain spots on the field. They don't have a consistent downfield threat right now. Xavier Worthy hasn't been able. Him and Patrick Mahomes haven't been able to get the ball down the field. They just haven't been able to connect like that down the field consistently throughout the year. Coaching has been a little bit of a struggle too. Andy Reid has not been the best with his coaching decisions as well. Like you can think about, fourth down call right on Sunday night, and then it just deciding to punt, in your own territory. Just so many, just so many different against the Cowboys. So many different just things have contributed to the Chiefs being in the position that they're in right now, and they have a very slim chance to make the playoffs. Now, if they win out, even then they're going to need help from other teams because first off, they're last in the division right now in the AFC West. They're not going to win the division this year, which will snap a record of 9 straight years of winning the AFC West. So that's not going to happen this year. They're tied with Ravens right now, and I believe the Steelers as well, as far as like that three-way, tie. So it's a lot of different math that gets into it, and it really is going to come down to how the last couple of weeks of the season plays out here for the Chiefs. And over the last 4 games of the year, they played the Raiders, they played the Chargers, they played the Titans. And they play the Denver Broncos. So those are your last 4 games. So you got 2 AFC West matchups. Theoretically, they should go 2-2. No, actually, it should go, I want to say 3-1. Theoretically, they should go 3-1. Like, you should beat Tennessee. You should beat Las Vegas. You should beat, you won't beat the Broncos. I know they're not going to beat Denver. And the Chargers, I don't think they're going to beat the Chargers. I don't think twice. I think the Chargers, how they showed how they played last night on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. This is a team, like, even when Justin Herbert's not on his game and he's not playing the best, they can still rally off wins. Their defense can still make plays, like they did it with that interception off of Jalen Hurts last night to kind of seal the game. The Chiefs, I don't know. Like, we're finally seeing the downfall of Kansas City. I never thought I'd say that, when they first started this run, so to speak, like when they went to the AFC Championship game that year that they lost to the Patriots. Then after that, Super Bowl, then they went back to Super Bowl, this AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl that year, they lost against Brady after in 2021. Then they went to the championship game, and just so, and on until last season, right? They've been on that run from like 2018 to 2024. They've been on that Super Bowl like run / championship run, and now that seemed to have dissipated. Travis Kelce has not helped them either. He's had a couple. He's had a lot of games where he's had some crucial drops, at very pivotal moments in the game, and that's kind of cost them to, the running game is something that I thought that the Chiefs would probably address at the trade deadline, and they didn't. Breece Hall was available. I believe if the Chiefs would have called the Jets, they would have traded for him. They would have traded Brees Hall to Kansas City. They didn't. They felt confident in Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in their backfield, and it hasn't been consistent enough. The production in the running back room has not been consistent enough. Isaiah Pacheco has been dealing with injuries, yes, but it's not when he's been healthy too. There's been times where he just hasn't been able to get that run game going, and Kareem Hunt, albeit has had some good plays here and there, it's not, again, consistent enough effort. In the NFL, you have to be able to run the football on a consistent basis if you want to be a top contending team. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles last year, right? Saquon Barkley rushes for over 2,000 yards. Jalen Hurts is also a threat running football as well. This year, there hasn't been much of that. So the Eagles are struggling with their offense this year. They just have a whole offensive identity crisis going on right now. But that's a whole other conversation. The Chiefs can't run the football. They can't protect Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is turning football over. Those are three big problems in within itself. And then, you have your receivers that are dropping passes, right? Your all-star, all-pro tight end is dropping passes too. So that's not going to help you. And you're putting your defenses in tough spots when you're giving them short fields to work with because you're punting the football, you're turning it over. Flipping the field is such a big thing. I don't think people understand when it comes to the game of football. If your defense is able to go out there and get stops and give your offenses or get a turnover and get your offense short fields to work with, it just makes it easier, right? Like it's much easier to get the ball on, the 50-yard line or the 45-yard line, your 45-yard line than it is on your 20, or your 25, your 30, right? It's so much of a difference and what you're able to do play calling wise, you're able to really get into your, between the 20s, like package and then your red zone packages. And that's when you're able to really dive into that part of your playbook. And the defense, they're not able, it's hard for them to cover that short end of the field. And with the Chiefs, they just haven't, their offense has not been consistent enough, and it's caused their defenses to have short fields. So now what they got to do is they got to figure out a way to, get that offense to stay consistent, sustain those drives, not turn the football over. Your defense has got to get after the quarterback, and they've got to get stops. They got to get turnovers. That Chiefs defense that has. They got to get turnovers. They got to get stops. They got to get their offense the football on, on good sides of the field. All those things play a role in it right now, and they're not doing any of that, which is why they have the record that they have right now at 6-7. So that's what it is. AFC is really anybody's game. I mean, at this point, I don't see a clear contender in the AFC right now. As far as like a team that just is like ahead of all the rest, I don't, you got your guys like record wise, you got Buffalo, you got Denver, you got the Patriots, the Jaguars, 8-4 right now. So you got some of those teams, but I can't sit here and say any of those. I don't know out of all those teams I just named, if they're going to, and then you got the Steelers and the Ravens who are like winning. They've been winning lately. They're trying to ease their way back into the playoff standing. So, but out of teams I just named, I can't say that any of them are bona fide. There is no clear top dog in the AFC as opposed to the NFC where, if you watch my last video, I said I think the Rams are the clear top dog in the NFC along with Seattle. That's like kind of two of them right there. But I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. It's surprising to see the Chiefs where they are right now. And I mean, hey, to be honest, it's a little salivating. I mean, as an NFL fan, right? It's good to see some parity in the league. Starting to see a lot of talent dispersed throughout the league, and other teams are better than they have been in years past, and that's a good thing to see, right? And that's just something that is really cool as a football fan to watch. Even trickling down to college football too, right? It's another cool thing to watch. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, the Chiefs have got to figure something out. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they got to figure something out. Patrick Mahomes, 22 touchdowns, 10 picks on the year. It's not all been his fault. Again, like I said, his receiving core is not the most talented group. As far as like when Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are not on the field. And even when they are on the field, they're having trouble all connecting on a consistent basis. And they're not going to be able to win that way because they really depend on those guys and Travis Kelce to kind of move that offense along. And when they're not doing that, they're stalling, and they're kind of clueless. That being said, yeah, I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do, but they're going to have to figure out something if they want to make the playoffs. Like I said, their chances are very slim. They got to win out, and they need help, even with winning out, if they're going to want to make the playoffs this year. So we'll see. If you're a Chiefs fan, yeah, I'd be concerned right now. Honestly speaking, like the whole magical run thing that they always do. But I don't know. I think this team right now where they are. I can't say that this season is completely over for them, but I can say that it's not looking good at the moment. It's just not looking good at the moment. These last 4 games are very important for them, as I keep reiterating, especially against the Chargers and the Broncos. Those are your 2 big games out of the last 4 remaining games. They got to win all of them, but those 2 they can't afford to lose for sure. So we'll see what happens with Kansas City. But yeah, that's really all I want to get on the show and talk about today, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the Chiefs will make another run and get out of this funk, or are they done for the year? Is the dynasty beginning to end? I mean, people said in the Super Bowl last year when they got blown out by the Eagles, but even then, after that, now where we are, it's the dynasty begin to end. Let me know what you think. See you next time on the show.